Support for 100 Watts in a Wire is provided by Bioenno Power. If you're looking for a power solution, check out Bioenno Power, offering the best performance lithium phosphate batteries for your ham radios. Visit bioennopower.com. That's BIOENNOPOWER.com or contact dealers nationwide.
And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
All right, brothers and sisters, good morning to you. Yep, a complete madhouse, just a madhouse of people in the pre-show, not the pre-roll or the countdown, I guess we'd call it. Welcome to the show. It's Christian. If we haven't met, please put new if you're in the chat, but welcome. My name's Christian. Kilo Zero, Sierra Tango Hotel. And Steve is here, W7UDI, from the great state of Washington. I really do want to say what was happening. Like, everything in my being wants to say. But people watching it later won't see the countdown. I will say I was a little surprised, but not completely surprised, by one of our guests today. I'll leave it at that. And then when we get to like a private conversation later at like Dayton, or when we can return back to, Hamfest, well, just ask me, what was it? But yeah, everybody kind of fell out of their chairs when a lady changed the name of the show just a little bit.
Well, just a little bit.
Let me see. Are you ready to give a comment? Or are you available for a comment?
No. Do you trust me to give a comment at this point?
I do. I don't know how long the show would last. It would be plugged.
You know what
Paul's
they say regarding that. You give me an inch, I'll take a mile.
Oh dear. So let's say there was a term of measurement. That's all we'll say.
Yeah, it's a term of a term of endearment.
Wow. Anyway, welcome to the show this week, guys. Just when you think you know somebody. Great.
They throw a curveball.
Well, they proved that that's the person you thought she was. So that's great. That's perfect. Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about the tune-up 2021. We're actually going to do it. We did it last year, too. We just augmented our roots a little bit. But I think this year, if you got your vaccinations, they say you can be together outside. So this is a good time, I think.
Yeah.
If you can get together and do it. The tune-up, if you're new to the show and the tune-up, twice a year we have operating events, and the one in the spring is a tune-up for Field Day. I always thought you may not get the chance to do what you want to do during Field Day unless you're operating alone or with some buddies. But when you're with a club, in my experience, you may be operating from a certain time period. Christian, you'll do 20 meters from 10 to 2. Steve will pick it up. Mm-hmm. Until 4 o'clock, we'll eat some pizza, we'll come back, there'll be a nighttime person, maybe you help hang the antennas, and maybe you just don't get to put up all the stuff you've been working on. Mm-hmm. So we created 2 operating events a year. In the spring, it's called the tune-up. You can put up your antennas, test them out, and we can talk about that a little bit, but I'm excited. We got some prizes to talk about. What's your experience with Field Day? I know that you're with a club, but you don't necessarily go off on Field Day, right? With your club?
Oh, we went off. Yeah, I mean, we set up the station, and usually it was just one station, and then we just kind of passed it around, and it ended up being more just a social event with a little bit of operating. And we just, the club got excited to see their listing in the QST in the usually November issue, where we ended up standing with everybody else in the 1A category. But other than that, it was just a social event for the club, and try to give an opportunity for some of the newer folks to get a taste of HF, ones that were had their technician class and never really operated HF, sit down with them and let them operate, or most of them would just rather log and just sit and listen and watch the whole thing go down. So it served multiple purposes, but mainly it ended up being a social event.
I think it's the most popular
Exactly.
special event. It's a great time. It's going to be so exciting to be able to get back together in some form, and imagine next year when everything is past. The 100 years ago when the influenza came in, I mean, you weren't reading about that 5 years later. It was just studies were coming out, but they weren't hampered for years on end. So things will get better, and we're getting better. Imagine Hamfest, what they'll be, and Field Day. It'll be super social, I think.
Well, speaking about Hamfest, we got one going here in Washington State, down in the Tri-Cities area in Kennewick. There's a Hamfest going. There's been quite a buzz, at least here in Eastern Washington. Folks are really looking forward to just going to it. It's an outdoor event, but they're just excited just to get to a Hamfest and see their buddies and things like that, and then get their hands on equipment. Well, what are you going to buy? Oh, I'm looking for connectors. I'm looking for this. One guy's just going, I'm just going to look for stuff. I don't care. He didn't care what it is, right. But he's just happy to go. So that's going on right now, and so I'm looking forward to hearing the stories from it.
That's cool. Things are getting better, guys. Let's talk about it a little bit. We have a lot of fun. We changed the rules up a little bit last year. Steve had the idea maybe we could work with teams, have a team sort of thing, because we couldn't get together last year. We decided we would let teams team up, and I think that's still a good idea. I mean, the goal is just get on the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the tune-up, June 11th through the 13th, and we encourage everybody to participate. Just get on the air really is the goal. And simple exchanges, we can talk about that a little bit and what I like to do. I usually stay put, but you don't have to. You could go operate a park. You could double dip, go up on the summit and go to a park and call for the tune-up. You could also call for your park, whatever. It's just another chance for us to get on the air together, do some exercising, get out. And, if you've got a portable station, not everybody does. I should say not everybody has a portable station, can't do that. But you're welcome to, do this from your house, too. There really is pretty laid back scenario, on that. We start off on Friday, 0000 UTC, which is actually Thursday evening at 7 o'clock Central Time here for me. We run all the way up to 1 minute before our net on Sunday. Again, the what was that I said? The 11th through the 13th is what we do. So if you're asking about the exchange, it's real simple. Your call sign, if you have a 100-watt ID, bring it. It's fine. If you applied for it and have forgotten, you can find that on the website in the Gathering tab. Everybody's listed there. There's over 4,000 or whatever that have been issued. Again, you don't have to have one. But it comes into play when the point system, talk about that in a second too, just give your state or if your province, if your DX, that sort of thing, a true signal report. And what I found on Field Day is, although I loved it so much, I'd go out and be portable, me and my 100-watt station and an antenna that wasn't quite perfect, but pretty good. So maybe I'm 90 watts or 85 watts, who knows what it was, but I couldn't hold a frequency because I wasn't strong enough. And I got a little frustrated, I was like, oh. So I became a chaser on Field Day out in the field. Mm-hmm. Steve and I got to talking, some other people on the what do you call that? In the tribe where you get together and your elders get together and you sit around and burn sage and whatever it is.
Smoking the peace pipe.
Yeah, when you're smoking whatever you're smoking and drinking whatever you're drinking and you're listening and dipping into your elders, it was, okay, well, maybe we kind of level the playing field a little bit and put this operating event together where people can test their gear, do their thing, and sort of be on the air leading up to Field Day. So we would like you to just do 100 watts, but look, if you come inside and do it, whatever. So I talked a little bit about the point system. And this is this was something that was added in over time because what happened was the prizes were getting really sexy. And there would be, over $1,000 or whatever it was full of prizes. And it was like we were going on the honor system. Right? That's what it is, Steve. We talk about the honor system. So you'd have somebody who made like one contact they would submit and win like a radio or an antenna. And I was like, that's not really fair. But
We wanted them to have a little skin in the game, and that was part of the point system and the, and going on the honor system on top of it.
yeah, we're nothing without our honor. But be that as it may, we talked about our exchange a little bit, pretty simple. So the point system, let's talk about the point system a little bit. So if you're just working anybody, say you're on the air and you're just working, 1 point. And what do we want to do? 25 points, right? I think that was the goal. Just get 25 points. That's it. You could do that in 40 minutes or whatever. Depends on how long you're doing it. If you work a 100 watt ID station, 2 points, you get there quickly. And then bonus stations, we usually set up some bonus stations. I'm a bonus station. You get 5 quick points working like me and Steve, and then we'll supplement it with some other folks too.
And they're halfway
Easy.
there.
You're there quickly. It just proves that you sat in the chair and you did it for a little bit. Now the prizes. Should we talk about the prizes right now? I'm excited because in the fall we gave away a complete station, which was sick. It was winner take all because it was a pandemic year, and it was like maybe we should just give away the whole thing. We're pretty close to that. We didn't have a donation of a radio this time around, but pardon me. But who gives away radios all the time? I don't know. Maybe I have something around here. I don't know, but it wouldn't be a complete station. But we did that in the fall. This time around, let's bring it up, and I'll jump over a little bit. So the first prize that we can talk about is this LDG. I didn't even know LDG was doing this. This dual analog meter. I want one of these.
For my radio.
Yeah, for my
Look at
radio.
that.
For the radio. I love the analog meters. They're colored, so you have your choice, and it's $180 prize. So I appreciate that. Thank you, LDG, for sharing that. And they go with different radios. So, here's the FT. Is that yours, the FTDX 101?
Yeah.
You need that. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's,
You need
radio's right there. I got to add that. Oh, I'm getting it.
It's
I'm
really
ordering it.
sexy. And they have one for the 7610, and I'm like, dang, I don't know how it plugs in, but I love analog meters. It's just so cool, and they'd be fun to look at on like
It's
Sunday
just
when
the
we
cool
do the
lights.
net. Here's one for the TS990. So you have your option if you win this. Here's the one I need right here, the 7610 model. I'm gonna need that. So if you'll loan me $180 or something like that. But we're gonna give away the 7800. So that's one prize. If you have those radios, that's cool. You get to pick that.
That is cool.
The other thing we got to think about, Steve, is do we bundle these up? And here, as we go, you'll see. And maybe we've got some time. It's May the 1st. We've got some time. It's good to start talking about it. Start to get your team together if you have a team. MFJ, this is a little dark. I'm in a dark mode because the monitors do wacky things to me. But they're giving away this portable vertical big stick antenna here. Another $120 value. And you can kind of see it here. I don't know if I can make it larger for you to see here, but you could look up the model. It's called the Big Stick. So we're doing all right with antennas. Let's see. It's the portable vertical Big Stick. It rates at 1 kilowatt, 120 ducats. So if we bundle these up, it may be part of a package, but it is a prize that was donated for us this year. So thank you to MFJ for showing us love. Yeah, go ahead.
That might be even a great antenna for people that are in HOA areas or environments. Yeah. Wow, I gotta try one of those.
Lightweight, 2 pounds, less than 2 pounds, backpack portable. The whole world is trying to be portable right now. So, and this is one of these events where we encourage you to get outside. And if you have a portable rig, cool, let's do that. Not everybody does. I get it. You ready for the next one, Steve? And so thanks to MFJ. They always are with us.
Thank you.
Here's one that makes people get real happy inside. So the battery, the Bioenno Power battery, another $125 prize here. And this is a 12-volt, 12 amp hour battery. And Steve, you plug this in and work a while, man. You can really work a while on something. And this is it doesn't weigh anything. I mean, it fits in the palm of your hand. That's the beauty about these kinds of batteries. You know, they're not. I used to carry the 60-pound car battery around. Guess what? I'm setting up right here. Like, you know, I'm not going up the hill. I'm not taking it up there. We'll be on the road, baby. We're just going to pull over because, and this changes things. You know, you can throw it in your backpack. I can put that in my cargo pant pocket. You may see my dupe on my rear end by the time I get there because my pants might fall down, but that'll fit on your person. So we'll either bundle this together or we'll do individual prizes, but we'll see how we go and what Steve thinks. Nuts and Bolts magazine. They're going to give a year subscription, which is cool. I have the latest one there, and they talk about antennas. So they'll kind of go off into things that are adjacent to ham radio, which I like. Do you get this one, Steve? I'll work it out so you can get this because I think you'd like this magazine.
Yeah, I don't get it yet.
Okay.
That is.
I think
cool.
you would think it. And
I
it's
used
like
to
the
read it
oldest.
years ago. Yeah, it was a cool magazine. I used to read it years ago and pick it up from the various stores when it was on the
Look at this.
newsstands. But
Let's do that again, Paul. Let's see if we can show Paul. Paul, look at that. There's Paul, WD9GCO. That's right. See that story right there? I want to try to talk to the person who wrote that because it's stealing messages and all this really cool intrigue. Nuts and Bolts. It's cool. They'll send it to you in the mail and digitally. So I think that you will dig that. Thank you, Paul. I have mine. It's just not handy. It's all book earmarked or whatever it's called. So that's a prize. Here's another one. And the first time, Elecraft is going to donate an AX1 multi-band whip antenna. Again, everybody's so excited about portable. And this is their antenna here that connects to their radio. That's probably a KX2 or a KX3. I don't own one. Oh, KX3, it says it there. Everything's sold separately. We're not giving away that radio. And if I had it, I don't know if I'd give that away either. That's a cool one. I'd love to try it. But they're going to give away that antenna. And that might work with your radios. Lots of those on the market, too. So welcome to Elecraft. And thank you for donating that prize. So antennas are in. Here's another old friend of ours, Chris Fox. He is NI4L. NI4L makes some really beefy, strong antennas. And Chris said, let's give away this ZS6 BKW. $140. That's nice. He uses nice wires. Good, strong builds. You can kind of see that from here. It is an HF dipole multi-band. See that he does these little crimpy things here that I like and takes the stress relief off. So it's a nice build. He also gets the little ladder line in there. So if you're not familiar with his line, check him out. NI4L, that's his call sign. Okay, moving right along.
Very nice.
Everybody's familiar with CQ Magazine. They're going to give away something special like 3 every day or something of the tune-up. So if you're into reading about ham radio stuff like you should be, CQ is on board. They're going to be part of the prizes for the tune-up. And
Great
lastly,
magazine.
that I
Been
know
around a long time.
Yeah, and it's good. And I like to just support them. I mean, we can get into a conversation about print, and Karen's here, and we've had an interview with Karen in the past. And we talked a little bit about print, and it's so hard. This is such a niche thing that I like to support them, and I definitely appreciate CQ Magazine for being on board. We've got time to show you the last one that I know of right now, and if there's others that come in, we'll share those too. But look at this one, Steve. We got the battery, and we got the 20-watt foldable solar panel.
There you go. Now we're cooking with gas.
This is Power Film Solar, who they donate for us as well. So if you're really portable, and some people have almost everything, and then they need something small. You don't need a ton to top off your battery. Maybe you're working with one, or you have a second one that's being topped off, or maybe you're running them together. So 20-watt foldable solar panel. And that's our list right now. You can see the full list at 100wattsandawire.com. And get yourself in the game. Put your team together. Figure out if you want to go somewhere and operate. Special site. I usually go to the old wooden shed. Open it up. Air out the windows. It's at the edge of the woods. It's just far enough away that if you forget something, you
It's a short hike back to the house.
Short hike back. Yeah. So, yeah, but that's what I'm planning on doing. And let us know what you think you might do for the tune-up. Again, we are, let's see if I can pull it up here, just to show you the dates. June 11th through the 13th. And read all about it at 100wattsandawire.com. So there you go. There you go, Steve. We'll talk about it a little bit more, maybe some portable operations. But we're going to take a quick little break here. We'll come back with Karen and Paul. We'll talk about this week's news. Steve's coming to the chat, y'all. Hang tight. Uh-oh. There we go. Come on. Let's take a minute to talk about what I feel is the most beneficial deal in ham radio today. It's when you become a sustaining member of 100 Watts and a Wire. Here's how it works. When you donate $25 or more, you will become a sustaining member for a year. And during that year, you get discounts from participating businesses. It's a win-win-win. The show gets your support, you get the discounts, a little more money in your pocket for your next project, and those businesses can earn your trust. Visit 100wattsandawire.com, click the Sustaining Membership tab to learn how you can support the content you enjoy. And thanks. All right, brothers and sisters, here we are all together again, my friends from Amateur Radio Newsline, my colleagues from Amateur Radio Newsline. And you see Karen, KD2GUT, and Paul, WD9GCO. Good afternoon to you, friends. I know you're no stranger to the tune-up, and Karen's always kind enough to give us a little love in that report. It's nice to hear Paul say it. Say it, Paul. Say it. Say it, Paul. Do you have to tell him to say it? Because he doesn't listen to me. You know what? Maybe he's muted. That's what it is. He's totally muted. No, he's not.
Okay, I'll try that again.
Yeah. Say, what did you say?
It's time for the 100 Watts and a Wire Spring Tune-Up.
Nice.
How's that?
Sexy.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Yeah.
You know, if I was a lady. Or,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I
If
mean,
I was a
I'm
lady,
not-
I
I'm
would
not-
be hideous. I'd be the worst lady going.
I mean,
I'd
I'm
be
not-
like,
I'm
how
not-
are you
I was
doing?
going to say,
Good to see you. How's this beard going
going
for
to
you?
say, no offense, yeah, but
Yeah.
We have a real lady. We'll stick with the real ladies.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't sound like Earl, though.
No, nobody does. That's the thing. It's either James Earl Jones or Earl Bailey for me. He's,
Yeah.
just, I don't know how he does it. Karen, have you got your portable station together? I know that's on your to-do, want-to-do list. When you think of
That's
portable,
a
what's
bucket
happening?
list item.
Yeah?
It's a bucket list item. I have a small, it's a Soft Rock RX TX. That was a kit build someone passed along to me very nicely. The problem is I need to find a suitable antenna that I can successfully get up in the trees. Let's just say my throwing arm leaves a lot to be desired.
Do you ever do any fishing?
Fishing, no.
I'm not a big fan of the slingshots, but a fishing line, that's so easy. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about just getting up there. You'll get up there somewhere. It may go behind you, but you're going to get up in that tree somehow.
Yeah, I've got to do portable. There's too much of a reason not to be indoors this time of the year. And every year I say to myself, this is the year I'm getting out there, and I don't. Other than taking my, if taking your HT out into the garden or going for a walk with it is considered operating portable, which it sort of is, but I want to do HF. I want to do something on the bands. I want to be able to say, hey, Christian, this year I'm doing tune-up from a park.
Right.
I'm so jealous of all the POTA operators. Right now I've just been chasing them. I want to be a POTA operator.
Well, and you do tune up and chase POTA and all those sorts of things from your shack too. So all that counts. This is one of those events where it's just kind of, let's get on the air and have a little fun, which is always a good. It's an excuse, is what it is. More than an operating event, it's an excuse. Paul, in your 40 plus years of being a ham, where does portable fall on your list? Done that? Did it? Want to do it?
I've never done it, but it does sound like something. I've got an antenna to do it, and I've got one of those sectional military masts in a duffel bag ready to go. but I don't really have a radio for it. I mean, my 590S, to extract it from the setup here and throw it in the car is a pretty big effort. So that's something I might mind to try in the next year or so. Get a small one like one of the Zygoos.
Right.
And then, go out somewhere for a long weekend with the wife, and she can read or whatever while I do some radio. That kind of sounds like fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
But
welcome.
I'll do tune-up from here. So
It's great, and we got to put the list together of the bonus stations anyway. So if you guys are free anytime that weekend, we'll talk about having you on the list. That'd be awesome. But this is the portion of the show where we take two news stories. One that probably hit the headlines and you may have heard this week, and one that may not have made the cut. And we'll start with Karen. Should we start with Karen? I don't know. We can flip it up a little bit today. Should we go with you first, Karen?
Go with Karen first.
Okay, cool. What do you have today?
Okay, the story I have today didn't really make national or world headlines, but it's worth noting. If you see the little guy behind me, this is a very proud 8-year-old boy named Vincent Collar. He's also now known as KC3RXV. He is the youngest amateur radio operator in his county in Pennsylvania, Montour County. He became a ham recently. And he's all ready to rock. He's already Skywarn certified. He's already in Aries. He's already in races. He's ready to go to town with emergency communications. Look at that happy face.
That
I
is a
swear.
happy kid.
But it really is a nice thing. But what's sweeter about this story and why this is worth noting, an 8-year-old boy who got inspired by a friend of his, a girl named Abby Smith, who last year at age 11 held the same title as he holds this year, the youngest amateur radio operator in the county, KC3OTG. And he was inspired by his friend. They are both in scouting. And she kind of elmered him and said, you can do this. And her dad coached him. And his parents are hams, but it was his buddy's father, Abby's dad, who coached Vincent to take his tests. Anyway, you could see his certificates. He's just happy as can be. This was from the newspaper. This photo was in the local paper. And what's even nicer is he is now the champion, right? He's the youngest ham in his county. He took away the title from Abby, who had previously been the title holder. She was the youngest ham. And they are just the best of friends. So I think what's notable about this is you can be an Elmer at any age. You can be an inspiration at any age. You can be an MCOM at any age. You can just get out there and do radio. If that isn't worth news, I don't know what is.
What do you think, Paul? He kind of beat us to it, didn't he?
Yeah, I love these kind of stories, and all of us at Newsline really love these kind of stories because our own Neil Rapp, when he was first licensed, he was 5. And I believe at the time he was the youngest ham in the country. He was on the cover
Yes.
of QST. And so we're all about youth, and we love these kind of stories. And it's cool that he had a friend the same age who got him into it. So now he's got, a peer his age roughly, to work through things with. So that's just, I love that.
Yeah, great story. And Neil was from the time, he comes from a family of hams. His father was a ham, mom was a ham. Neil was 5 years old doing code. He was passing that test for code. So that's pretty impressive. 5 years old, like I think Don Wilbanks says, he was in the corner eating crayons at 5 years old. So
Well, it's
way to
not
go,
much
buddy.
different from today. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he still has a taste for that. Maybe with a little wine or bourbon.
And a cigar, but still crayons.
Yeah, still crayons taste good. Story number two. What should we think about this week?
Story number 2, I was originally going to wear my NASA shirt with the historical meatball logo again, but I just wore that last week, so I'm wearing a T-shirt from the Huntsville Space Center instead because the man behind me, Michael Collins, who is one of the 3 in the Apollo 11 crew just died, and he was 90. He had been battling cancer, and of the three, only Buzz Aldrin is still with us. Collins was the one who, I mean, if you look at his career, I mean, it was amazing what he accomplished up to that point. He was a Gemini pilot. He was a military test pilot. And, a lot of people keep asking him over the years, you just had to be bitter and lonely up there in the command module while Buzz and Neil were down on the moon. And he's like, no, I wasn't. It was a team. And he had the most command module experience of any of them. And his job was just as important as theirs, because if he screwed up, none of them were going to get home. So he said, I absolutely was not. I'm sure personally in there was a little twinge of jealousy, but he just said, hey, we all had a job to do. And his training was different than theirs and everything. And he was the one when they undocked, when the LEM undocked from the command module, it kind of did a spin, a flip, and he was the one who inspected it to make sure that it looked okay for them to go down. And then they landed and they did their thing. And then when they came back, he was the one who had to make sure that the command module was in position to dock with the LEM, and he flew, into docking position and was able to get them back on board, and everybody went home. So he was never bitter or angry about the fact that he did not get to go on the moon. He knew that everybody's job on that crew was critical, and if one of them did something wrong, it was all going to go bad. So those guys, to me personally, are really heroes, because they strapped themselves into a tin can on top of 300 feet of high-powered rocket fuel and flew to the moon and back.
I think astronauts maybe like archaeologists. Archaeologists don't read much into the stories of what they're finding. It's very strict, and I would think astronauts, with his role being his role, that was his role, and he was focused on that completely.
Exactly.
What did Buzz have to say about this? His passing.
Crap. He had a tweet out there. It was something
or just
like,
the feeling of it.
Yeah, it was like, "Dear Mike, wherever you are and wherever you've been, you've always been a part of us, and we love you, and we're going to miss you." I mean, it was very heartwarming, coming from, one of his oldest friends and a member of that team, because those three guys did something that nobody else had ever done or will ever do. Because however many people stepped foot on the moon, they were the very first ones who ever did that. And there's a photo out there of that Collins took from the command module as the LEM was going away, and you can see the LEM, you can see the moon, and in the background you can see the Earth. And that is the only photo, and he is the only man who could have taken that photo of all of humanity, except for himself. But it's the two guys on the LEM, and it's the rest of Earth in the background, and it's astounding to think of that sort of stuff.
Well, it gives me chills. I got chills just listening to you to talk about that. Now, he's written a book, right? I've seen that. Have you read his book or have plans?
Yeah, I've got it. His biography is called Carrying the Fire, and then he's written a couple other books. I'm not sure of the titles on that, but his story and the story about the Apollo flight is Carrying the Fire.
That's amazing. Karen, what do you think about this?
Well, first thing I did was I hopped online and reserved the book at my library. It's already waitlisted, but hopefully not for more than a week. I would definitely want to read this. The thought that he would uniquely have that view does give me chills. But I also want to say, my God, support is such an important thing. Being part of a team is such an important thing. I think as hams, we know we love to be in teams. We love to help one another. And I think Michael Collins embodied that spirit. Who could do what he did? Not a lot of people. Who could do it with so much on his shoulders? So it's pretty remarkable.
The responsibility to get us there and get us home. Say no more. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean,
Yeah,
some of us
and
like
it's-
to play sports and put me in the game, and I will be clutch. I mean, holy cow.
And we think about those three, but you really have to also think about, Gene Kranz and everybody at Mission Control, and you have to think about all the other thousands, not only at the vendors that built the rocket and built the LEM and built the command module, but all of the support people that worked for NASA and everything, which is one of the reasons why anytime I hear somebody spout off that crap about it being fake and all staged, it's like, how can you be dumb enough to think that there's 10,000 people out there involved in this event? Of the past 50, 60 years, absolutely nobody
Right.
would have leaked that. So, I mean,
That's
it's more than
disrespectful.
just those three.
To everybody.
Also for those that don't know, if you, I know because my wife was a huge fan of the soap opera All My Children. Actress Kate Collins, who was one of the leads on that, is his daughter.
Oh, cool.
And she and her husband actually live in Chicago. He is the director of the theater at the University of Chicago, and I've actually seen her act in a play there. So
Now, didn't Buzz punch a man for insinuating that it was fake?
a reporter or some nut job came up to him, ambushed him outside of a speech he had just given or something, and accused him of faking it. And Buzz just hauled off and punched him. It's like,
So he got the receipt. Yeah, you got to be
Yes,
careful. You got the
exactly.
receipt for those disrespectful comments because there's so many people involved, and it's just amazing the technology
Absolutely.
and
It's-
everything else.
It's also sad to think that people refer to Michael Collins as the forgotten member of the team. How do you forget? How do you forget somebody whose job is to safeguard you and take you safely home? That's just wrong.
I'm curious to see what the crew, like in the book, if it comes out, we should bring this up again. And when you find those nuggets of how important his role was, because he may not say it if it's his writing, he may not be saying that. That's why I was curious about Buzz's comments, because
I'll
the
have to-
reverence
'cause
given
I've-
to the team.
I'll have to research because I've read Buzz's and Neil's books as well, and I mean, their training is very focused on their particular skill set, and Collins had the most experience with docking and with piloting a command module. So, I would also like to. This T-shirt also ties in for the Space Center being in Huntsville. I would like to bring up the Amateur Radio Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award,
sir.
which will be awarded in Huntsville, and the nominations are open now. So if you go to our website, arnewsline.org, and go under events, there is a tab that says Why Hottie, and you click on that, and there's the form where you can fill out and submit a nomination for Karen, it's 25 or 18 or under.
He's 18.
It says on there.
Don's in
Wow.
the chat. He can-
18. I think
it's 18 or
and
under.
Okay. I
And,
think
Yeah,
that's
and
you
also,
can- Yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
Karen.
I'd also like to say don't wait until the deadline of May 31st. Do it now while you're hearing us. Think of someone you know who's impressed you, who's deserving. Get it done. It's a great honor, and it's a
Yep.
tribute to Bill Pasternak.
just
And it'll give our...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Christian.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm pleased to announce that we're going to be socially interacting here between Amateur Radio Newsline and 100 Watts and a Wire, and I thank you both for that. Being a member of that team is important to me. But also, tell us about when the show is released. I know this stuff, but now that we're officially cross-pollinating, the show comes out on Thursdays. Where can we find it? All that great stuff, how to subscribe.
Okay. Don just mentioned it's actually under the tab that says awards. There's a drop down. The age is 18 and under.
Good.
It's
I
released.
just missed it.
Yeah, I know. It's by a long time. It's released. Amateur Radio Newsline. There's kind of two pieces. There's the highlights video reel that Don puts out every 2 weeks on the Ham Nation podcast, but the actual newscast itself comes out weekly. And you can either go to arnewsline.org and you can see the script and you can download the MP3 file from there, or if you have a podcast application, you can subscribe. It comes out every Thursday evening, usually late Friday morning, and it's every week. It's 20 minutes. And there's also hundreds of repeaters around the country that carry it every week. WTWW
And shortwave.
Shortwave. WTWW carries it also. Check their schedule out. So it's out there, and it's been going with nonstop, except for a short period of time around when our founder, Bill Pasternak, passed away, where we were dark for
Regrouping.
a month, maybe.
Yeah.
Trying to regroup. Yeah, it's been nonstop since 1977.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. But welcome to everybody as we cross-pollinate from 100 Watts and a Wire to Amateur Radio Newsline and back. Appreciate you both. Thanks for coming in. If you have comments on this story, please leave them in the comments of the video. The chat may not be seen, so leave them in the comments there. My thanks to Karen, KD2GUT, and Paul, WD9GCO. Godspeed, Mr. Collins. I don't know how you say goodbye, but other than 73.
That works. 73.
All right, brothers and sisters,
733.
take care. Brothers and sisters, let's talk about the 100-watt ID. Very easy to get. None of this costs you a thing. But it is fun to have your own, and here's how you get it. Visit 100wattsandawire.com. Click the Gathering tab. Here you give us your name, your call sign, and your email address. Very simply put, an app will sequentially issue your ID, and a very busy human will send you that ID through the email. Then you can use it during our nets and operating events, share it with your friends, do whatever you like, but that is how you get it. Visit 100wattsandawire.com and click the Gathering page. Now let's get back to the show. Show enough. All right, we're back. All right, Steve-O. You got one of these things too. I just want to show that to you because look, zoop, there it is. Oh, it's riding a little high on you. Oh, you're muted. I'll get you off of that mute. People like to hear you.
There you go. There we go.
People like to hear you.
Yeah, look at that.
What's going on in the chat over there? I know that the people are talking, and I'm seeing them coming by a little bit. Everybody doing okay?
Oh yeah, everyone's doing good. Don's having a crawfish boil, so there's some jealousy going on. Yeah, I know. He's not sharing.
Who's jealous?
But
he's living his life, baby. He's living it, man.
Oh yeah, he's still in the corner eating crayons and smoking cigars, drinking bourbon. You know, the usual.
Crayons and crawfish. It sounds like a new podcast.
Yes. And Don just pulled it up. Doggone it! I was just you beat me to the thunder, you dirty dog. So yeah, the question was asked. Rick asked about, we were talking about the youngest ham or a young ham and who was the oldest, and the only one I could come up real quick is Cliff and W4 KKP, and he just passed away last October. And he was 109, and if I remember, he was still active, and just so that's the hard part. I don't know who is now has the title of the oldest ham, but that would be something cool to have someone in the oldest ham and a young ham, and bring them together, say like at Dayton or Huntsville. Yeah, Dawn. And that would be kind of cool. Just the passing of the guard and things like that. I mean, it would just, but yeah, Cliff, as far as I know right now, was the oldest at 109. So that's way cool.
And we had the man who recently passed away that wasn't in the United States, and I'm blanking on his name. I don't know. We just did the Amateur Radio Newsline story on him a few months ago. Paul, you remember that name? Not to put you on the spot. Let me bring Paul back up. Paul, you remember that guy? You're up. Remember what I was talking about? Yeah. And
yeah,
Karen
I know what
left,
you're talking about, and I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So and mind you, I'm just being U.S. centric, but there has to be. How do we find the oldest ham?
Hey, go ahead, Paul.
Steve, you are correct. Cliff was active right up till a short period of time before his death. I talked to him when he was 104 for Newsline, and when he moved to that retirement home, his friends, he got permission to have a radio, and his friends came in and they set up a station, and he was on the air all the time in 104 all the way up till 109.
Jeez.
So that's another 5 years. That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's great.
Yep. That's crazy. Well, thank you for that, Paul. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but anyhow, that's great. I think that's a great idea. I don't know how the young one at 5 would talk, but if mine was the youngest, boy, she could talk. She'll tell you the whole story. She'll let you know everything, but that'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting tie. It's good to see you. If you're new, let us know. Drop your name. Welcome to it. Poke around the channel a little bit. We'd love to have you here. We appreciate all the support. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, we kick off the 100 Watts in a Wire Sunday evening net. And that should be cool. We'll find out how many bands we're running on. I need to run a little bit.
We should be running 3 bands. We'll have Paul back, and Paul was out camping and enjoying time out in nature and operating portable. So that will be real cool to have him back. And so we should, if all goes well, be operating 75, 40, and I'll start on 20 and then move over to 40 meters.
Maybe I'll jump around between the 3.
Yeah.
I'll just interrupt.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, not again.
You just be rogue.
Just rogue. He's traveling around. I think he's coming to 20. But yeah, it's fun. And we've had a show in the past, and interesting feedback, because people who do have a little mic fright aren't the ones that are coming on the air and telling you this. So some people have sent me some email privately, watched it, got some ideas, and the major takeaway was, just to try. We gave some ideas about joining a net, checking into a net, chasing someone in the park or soda, those quick exchanges that can kind of get you over the hurdle. But the other side of it is the veteran ham radio operators who need to show patience and kindness and support people. I think you just don't know, because you don't know. If they knew, I believe everybody's good at heart, right? I don't want to sound like the old hippie, but I think we're all like, if they knew that somebody was struggling, they wouldn't be that way. They wouldn't be as harsh, So we have a responsibility to be kind too. And it's a good place on Sunday at 7 o'clock Central to run into friendly faces, at least people that you heard, and that you're gonna be all right. You're gonna talk as little as you want or as long as you want.
Or as long as you want.
It's all good. Good to see Ian. Thanks for Don for stopping by. There was another Don. They go by so fast sometimes. I see Ian there. Ricardo, hello from Paradise in Florida. I hope the weather's holding up. I know we're getting closer to storm season, so be thinking about that. Should we answer some questions? I don't know if any came through in the chat. I missed, but
other than the oldest ham and with the youngest. So
okay. All right, you ready for this? This one comes back from, I can read them to you, Uncle Steve.
Oh, no,
Uncle
it's fine.
Steve,
I can
everyone's
see him,
home.
too. Uncle Steve,
Uncle
his
Steve
glasses.
will tell you, put your glasses on, Pop. That's what. Let me get some. This one is a leftover. It was a follow-up to a question we had about wrapping the wire this week. Or the antenna when you tune, what happens to that extra wire? We talked about that. Posted it up on the 100 Watts in a Wire YouTube channel. This one comes up and says, does it matter when you wrap the antenna wire that the wire is insulated? And there's a spelling error there. Or does it need to be bare wire? Bare wire, does it matter if it's insulated wire or bare wire? What happens when you wrap
no,
it?
RF doesn't care about the insulation. It's if anything, it's just gonna probably give you some insulation if it hits a branch or something like that. But for the most part, RF doesn't care if it's if the wire's insulated or bare. Okay. So just go with it.
Just go with it. I got to read these over and check the spelling. We have that was more like isolated. Maybe it was isolated. I think it would have been insulated. Would have been
insulated. Yeah. Well, it's the autocorrect spelling on phones and things like that always gets me, and it's like, damn, I didn't want to say that.
No, no, I hit send.
Damn it,
send.
Siri.
That's my boss. I didn't meant to say wiener. I'm fired. All right.
So screwed.
Question number 2. Do you save your original radio boxes? This is an interesting one here because I have found that they take up a lot of space. Modern day radios, they take up a lot of space, but there was a great deal of, I don't know, cachet, a great deal. When I got my my Drake, the TR7. The man sent it from Ohio in the original boxes. And there was a little bit of like, yeah, man, like this original boxes. My 7300, the 70, they are packaged to the gills, and they're packaged right and well, but man, they take up a lot of space. What do you think?
I know on the secondary market that, like, you know, when you're selling it, there's a lot, especially like say through QRZ Swap Meet or eHam or the online version. There's a lot of people like to have the original box, which is great because it got shipped that way to you. And it's a great way of shipping it, and you know that it will be pretty well protected. So yes, I save my original boxes with the current radios, but my older radios that I had 20 plus years, like this guy, which is probably going to end up being my portable rig for the spring tune-up.
Nice.
Let's get it a nice, you know, the 847. That is, I don't have the original box for that because it probably got lost in the move or whatever. So
and they get wet.
But
They can get. I still have the Drake boxes. They're in the garage. Bugs go in there. Spiders want to build, and my wife's looking at me like, "It's okay," but you know, stink bugs have moved in. I'm like, "Mm." And you're right about the shipping. Those old boxes may not be the best way. You should double box anyway. I think you need to double box when you're shipping, and some people won't ship. So yeah, I'm on the fence where I keep everything, but I'm also the person who realizes I may not sell them. But going one step further is when I'm a silent key, maybe my wife or daughters will be able to box things. I don't know how I think, but I just keep it. What do you guys do?
Well, the other thing is, especially if you buy like a new radio, and the boxes take up a lot of space. But if there's a place to where you can put it up in, you know, your overhead in your attic space that it can stay for a while, then if you had to send the radio back for repairs, you'll still have the original box to put it back in and ship it back. So I'd keep it around for a while, but your circumstances will dictate whether you keep it or not, and break it down and send it off to recycling. So
okay,
I keep them for a while.
Yeah, I think I mean, I do. I've just kept them, and I thought it was cool, and I thought it was a stamp of honor that I've got the original Drake boxes from 1977, late 1977. But, everybody's different. What do you think? While you're watching this, put your thoughts in the comments. We encourage that. Maybe we'll talk about that some more next time. All right. Question number 3. I have a couple of dipoles and an off-center fed dipole. I also have 500 feet of wire and about an acre of land. What should I build? This is tricky, man, but this is fun. This is where we can engage the audience, too. Now, hypothetically, in your world, you've got an acre of land, you've got 500 feet of wire and a couple existing antennas, 2 dipoles, and an off-center fed. Dipoles would be monoband dipoles. Don't know what they are. That might have been a little helpful here, but 500 feet of wire.
So he has you have the dipoles and an OCF.
Couple, it looks like monobands and an off-center fed. So we don't know what bands he has. We just know what space he has or she has, and 500 feet of wire. Looks like he's ready to tinker. What to do? What would you do?
Ooh, well, the question becomes: you got 500 feet, you can build a 160 antenna. You got the property. If you want to delve into 160, so I'm going to make an assumption you probably have 75 and 40, or is it 40 and 20 on the dipoles, the OCF. I think you got the bands covered. Probably most likely you don't have a 160 would be my guess, and this would be a good time to maybe
get that
try
in an
a
acre?
160.
I don't know how long an acre, corner to corner, what an acre would be.
It's 256 feet for a 160 dipole.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's still a lot of wire, but an acre.
A lot of wire
should be
that's
plenty.
That's total length. So that's a little over half the roll of wire there, and then you still have leftovers to build some other band specific dipoles if you want to, or second one, and then place them 90 degrees apart and then switch in between those too. So
I always flirt with the idea of a loop, but I'm in between trees and it's hard.
That's another one. Yeah, the loop. You can put a delta loop also. That's there's plans out there for delta loops, and then or you could just take that whole 500 feet and make it into a horizontal loop and feed it with some ladder line, and then with a 4-to-1 balun, and then coax into your shack, and you'll be good to go. And those big loop antennas work really well.
I like to do a loop. The trees I have are more, they weren't necessarily planted here, and they're big oaks. So the height and the spacing could be a little wonky, but I'll tell you what I did one year, and Steve knows about this project I did. I had a spool 500 feet wire, took it and ran it out straight through the woods. I tried to get them up about 10 to 11 feet. It was basically what I could reach on this ladder. I tacked up nails on the tree, looped the wire over it, and ran it straight to the north. Took all day. And I came back in, checked the SWR. It was great on all amateur radio bands. It was great. 500 feet straight out to the north. Directional antenna now is directional to the north. I was shocked that my SWR was so low on every band. I was like, this is a miracle. This is crazy. I'm up 10 feet or whatever. Came in, made a contact to a guy in Michigan, and the next day took it all down. Because I don't know. I got a lot of problems. It was a fun experiment, but I was just concerned that I would only be able to run. I had like a little balun, 100 watt. It would only handle like 100 watts, and it was so directional. And I ran it to the north. 500 feet can be a long way to go. And took it down, but the SWR of that thing, man, it just made me I was like, this is crazy. It's great everywhere. And the directionality of it was what kind of made me want to take it down. So I would think about that loop, but if you're just experimenting, man, just run it out there and see what you can do. It was pinging between trees, and it was a wacky thing I did, but that's why we love antennas.
That was the cool part. Yep.
It worked. Made a contact, and I just couldn't dump power into it at all, and it was so directional running straight out. But man, it was fun. A lot of hard work, but it was fun. And I kept the wire back. I just wanted to bring the wire back and build something I know would be more omnidirectional, and that's kind of where I went with it. I hope that helps. I'm curious to see what the people who watch. Put your comments down below. We want to know, what would you build with 500 feet of wire?
Yeah. Give us some ideas.
Let us know. And you could build cool antennas for listening, just for there's so many options. I think I'm going to put that on the list. Buy 500 feet. One day we'll have to talk about gauge wire, because I think there's some confusion with that. Getting a thicker gauge or a heavier gauge. 14 gauge insulated seems to be a good wire to buy for most antennas, but when I'm doing portable stuff, I go for a little smaller too. Maybe like a 16 gauge is good.
14 gauge is pretty popular because you can go down to the big box stores and get a spool of it, of stranded 14 gauge wire, and relatively inexpensive, and off you go. The problem with that stuff is it has that vinyl coating over it that over time starts to peel off, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no problem. Well, good deal. Yeah, I think I need to operate. I feel like today's a really pretty day. I'm either going to set up portable, take my girls out in the field. It's been cut. It looks beautiful. It's going to rain again. Of course, tomorrow it's going to rain again, but I may go portable today, Steve-O, and get
nice.
Either record some of it or either stream it out or something like that. But I feel like I need to operate. I haven't taken calls in a while, and there's something about me that feels like you gotta take them. Your ears got to stay sharp so you can kind of dig them out when you want to. All right. So reminder for tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central Time, we'll have our net. We've got Ian and Paul and Steve and myself will be here. So click the notification bell, and they'll let you know. And last week we did that countdown too, so it gives you a little bit of time to hit the head, grab yourself a drink, sit down in the chair, tune up, that kind of thing. What do we miss, Steve? We miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we got it covered
We
today.
got it covered, man. We got it covered. I'm ready to get outside. What's your day look like out there?
Oh, it's great. It's beautiful. Nice day. It's going to be on the windy side, but well, welcome to Helensburgh. It's always windy here.
Do you have a
But,
ton of yard work and chores to do, or are you gonna play radio
not today.
at all? Oh,
Not today. No, I'm going to go do a few other things today and then tackle that tomorrow and Monday. So Monday, well, you saw that was what I ended up doing Monday. I spent pretty much most of the day on the tractor mowing the fields, so I don't have to worry about that for a little bit.
that's good. Well, stay tuned. We'll post up on the 100 Watts in a Wire Facebook group. If I go portable, I may stream something out. We'll see how it goes and how things look. I need to open up the shed, kind of get it ready. I hope you took a note for the tune-up. It's coming up next month. We've got a little bit of time. The prize lists are there. You can click the links and see exactly what it is. My thanks to the sponsors who have given that stuff away. I think it's a good time, too, because a lot of people... companies didn't give away all their ham fest things, so there's some prizes out there to give away. So I just ask, and most people are like, yeah, be happy to help. So there you go. All right, friends, take care of yourselves, look after each other. My thanks to Steve and Paul and Karen, who made a big old joke earlier, and I was like, wow,
Wow.
hey, child, made me want to lower the lights. But I'll tell you about that some other time.
And exactly.
You can't talk about that here. Talk about an algorithm going wacky. And Betty White, bless her heart, she's still kicking.
Bless her heart. Yeah, we need to get her tickets so she can join us.
Can you
here
imagine?
on
Could you
Halloween.
imagine her running? I would just like to be with her for a little while. Just chill.
Oh.
She's just too cool. Coolest lady in the world,
Yeah.
I think.
It
Take
would
care of
be fun to-
yourselves. Yeah. Get smacked by her. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? How do I get home? What an honor to get smacked by Betty White.
Exactly.
All right, take care of yourselves and look after each other. And by all means, if you can, please try and stay above the noise. 73.
7-3, everyone.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsinawire.com.